Nigeria, a land of vibrant colours and contrasts, has always been a tapestry woven from diverse threads. This West African nation is a mosaic of cultures, traditions and histories, each contributing to the rich and dynamic identity of the country. From the arid Sahel in the north to the lush rainforests of the south, its landscapes are as varied as its people. The northern regions with their vast deserts and savannas contrast sharply with the dense green rainforests and mangroves of the southern coast. These diverse ecosystems support an equally diverse array of wildlife and plant species, making Nigeria a haven for nature enthusiasts and researchers alike. Over 250 ethnic groups call this land home, each with its language, traditions and stories. These groups, including the Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, Fulani and many others, have their unique ways of life, from their traditional dances and music to their intricate art and crafts. Each ethnic group adds a unique thread to the rich cultural fabric of Nigeria. The Yoruba, Igbo and Hausa, the largest among them, have shaped the country's destiny in profound ways. The Yoruba, known for their rich mythology and vibrant festivals, the Igbo, with their entrepreneurial spirit and elaborate ceremonies, and the Hausa, with their deep-rooted traditions and historical empires, all play crucial roles in the nation's narrative. The Niger River, the country's lifeblood, snakes through the heartland, connecting north and south. This mighty river has been a source of sustenance and a vital trade route for centuries. It nourishes the land, supports agriculture and provides a means of transportation, linking communities and fostering economic growth. It has borne witness to the rise and fall of empires, the ebb and flow of trade, and the enduring spirit of the Nigerian people. From the ancient Nok civilization to the powerful kingdoms of Benin and Oyo, the river has been a silent observer of Nigeria's rich history. The bustling trade markets along its banks have been hubs of commerce and cultural exchange for generations. Despite their differences, Nigerians have always shared a common bond, a deep love for their land and its rich cultural heritage. This shared heritage is celebrated in numerous festivals and communal gatherings where music, dance and storytelling bring people together. Whether it's the Durbar Festival in the north, the Ayo Festival in Lagos, or the New Yam Festival in the east, these events highlight the unity and diversity of the Nigerian people. This unity in diversity has been the source of Nigeria's strength and resilience throughout its tumultuous history. From the struggle for independence to the challenges of modern nationhood, the Nigerian spirit has remained unbroken. The green and white flag symbolizes hope and peace, reflecting the aspirations of a nation that continues to strive for unity and progress. The story of Nigeria is one of resilience, diversity, and an unyielding spirit that binds its people together. Long before the arrival of Europeans, sophisticated kingdoms flourished in the region that is now Nigeria. These ancient realms were not only centers of power, but also hubs of culture, trade and innovation. They played a crucial role in shaping the history and identity of the region. In the north, the Hausa city-states, renowned for their commercial prowess, controlled the trans-Saharan trade routes. These routes were vital arteries of commerce, connecting the region to North Africa and beyond. The Hausa people were adept traders, dealing in goods such as gold, salt and textiles, which were highly sought after across the continent. These bustling centers of commerce, such as Kano and Katsina, were renowned for their exquisite textiles, leather goods and kola nuts. The markets of Kano were particularly famous, attracting traders from far and wide. The city's artisans were skilled in producing intricate designs on textiles and leather, which were prized possessions in many households. Further south, the Yoruba kingdoms, with their impressive urban centers like Ife and Oyo, left an indelible mark on the region's artistic and cultural landscape. These cities were not only political capitals, but also centers of learning and creativity. The Yoruba people were known for their rich oral traditions, music and dance, which continue to influence Nigerian culture today. Ife, revered as the cradle of Yoruba civilization, was renowned for its exquisite terracotta and bronze sculptures, testaments to the artistic brilliance of its people. These artworks, often depicting deities, royalty and everyday life, provide a window into the spiritual and social world of the Yoruba. The craftsmanship and attention to detail in these sculptures are still admired by art historians and enthusiasts around the world. In the West, the Benin Empire, known for its military might and artistic achievements, held sway. The empire was a formidable force with a well-organized army and a sophisticated system of governance. The Oba, or king of Benin, was both a political and spiritual leader, commanding respect and loyalty from his subjects. The Benin bronzes, intricate sculptures depicting the history and culture of the Edo people, stand as a testament to their mastery of metalworking. These bronzes, which include plaques, statues and ceremonial objects, were often used to decorate the royal palace and commemorate significant events. The detail and realism captured in these works are a testament to the skill and creativity of Benin's artisans. These kingdoms, each with its unique character and achievements, laid the foundation for Nigeria's rich and diverse cultural heritage. Their legacies continue to influence contemporary Nigerian society, from art and music to governance and trade. Understanding these ancient kingdoms helps us appreciate the depth and complexity of Nigeria's history and the enduring spirit of its people. Nigeria's geographical location, at the crossroads of trans-Saharan trade routes and coastal trade networks, made it a hub of economic activity for centuries. The ancient kingdoms actively participated in a vast network of trade, exchanging goods and ideas with distant lands. Camel caravans laden with salt, dates and textiles from North Africa traversed the Sahara, bringing wealth and prosperity to the Hausa city-states. In exchange, they carried back gold, ivory, kola nuts and, unfortunately, enslaved people, highlighting the complexities of this ancient trade. Along the coast, Yoruba traders exchanged beads, cloth and pottery with European merchants who arrived on their shores, marking the beginning of a new era of cultural exchange and, sadly, exploitation. These trade networks, while bringing prosperity, also sowed the seeds of change that would forever alter the destiny of the Nigerian people. Section 4. The coming of the Europeans. The arrival of Portuguese explorers in the late 15th century marked a significant turning point in Nigeria's history. These explorers were among the first Europeans to set foot on Nigerian soil, driven by a thirst for adventure and the promise of untold riches. Lured by tales of gold, spices and other valuable commodities, the Portuguese established trading posts along the coast. These posts became bustling centres of commerce, where African traders and European merchants exchanged goods, ideas and cultures. However, this interaction also initiated the transatlantic slave trade, a dark chapter that would leave an indelible stain on the continent's history. The Portuguese, followed by other European powers, such as the British, Dutch and French, exploited existing rivalries between African kingdoms. They pitted these kingdoms against each other, manipulating local leaders to further their own economic interests. This strategy of divide and conquer allowed them to establish a foothold in the region with relative ease. This interference in local power dynamics destabilized the region, leading to increased conflict and warfare among African kingdoms. The resulting chaos made it easier for Europeans to encroach further into the interior, gradually extending their influence and control over larger territories. The transatlantic slave trade had a devastating impact on the social fabric of Nigerian societies. Entire communities were torn apart as millions of people were forcibly captured and transported across the Atlantic to work as slaves in the Americas. Families were separated, never to be reunited, and a whole generation was decimated. The brutal conditions of the slave ships, where captives were packed tightly and subjected to inhumane treatment, led to immense suffering and loss of life during the Middle Passage. The slave trade also had a profound impact on local economies. Traditional industries such as agriculture, metalworking and textile production were overshadowed by the lucrative yet inhumane business of slave trading. This shift not only distorted economic priorities, but also eroded the cultural and social structures that had sustained Nigerian societies for centuries. European forts and trading posts dotted the coastline, serving as hubs for the exchange of goods and the coordination of slave shipments. Meanwhile, African artisans and traders found their traditional livelihoods increasingly marginalized by the demands of the slave trade. Despite the overwhelming pressure from European powers, there were numerous instances of African resistance. Local leaders and communities fought valiantly to protect their lands and people, but the technological and military advantages of the Europeans often proved insurmountable. Over time, treaties and agreements were signed, often under duress, ceding control of vast territories to European powers. These documents laid the groundwork for the eventual colonization of Nigeria, setting the stage for a new era of foreign domination and exploitation. Today, the remnants of these historical trading posts serve as a stark reminder of this tumultuous period. They stand as silent witnesses to the profound and lasting impact of European arrival on Nigerian soil, a legacy that continues to shape the nation's history and identity. Section 5. The Shadow of the Union Jack. As the 19th century dawned, Britain emerged as the dominant European power in the region. Driven by a complex mix of economic and humanitarian concerns, Britain abolished the slave trade in 1807. However, this did not end their involvement in the region. British economic interests shifted from the trade in human beings to the exploitation of natural resources, particularly palm oil. Palm oil, used in European industries, became a sought-after commodity, fueling the growth of British trading companies in the region. To secure their economic interests, the British employed a combination of diplomacy and military force. Treaties were signed with local rulers, often under duress, granting the British control over trade routes and access to resources. This marked the beginning of a new era of British influence, one that would culminate in formal colonial rule.